This is the Fearless Agent Podcast, where you learn how to make way more money fast selling real estate with your host, the Fearless Agent himself, Bobloeffler.
Hey, this is Bob here at the Fearless Agent Podcast for real estate sales professionals like you, where we explain that every single thing you've been taught by the whole real estate industry is wrong, and you will make lots more money in way less time by doing the exact opposite. And today's topic is the secrets to success. So, I speak on how to be successful to large groups of realtors all over the country. And so I'm just going to ask you to get a pen and paper out, and let's just talk about the secrets to success in real estate sales. So one of the things to begin with is, when I talk about success, the problem with realtors is you are surrounded by so much failure, you really do not know what is possible. And that was true for me. So I got into real estate in 1984, and, I was all raring to go, had a great attitude, and then I failed miserably for 5 years. Well, why was that? Because I was taking the advice of all the well-meaning, helpful realtors, managers, people in real estate. The whole industry is set up to cause me to fail. And so I did what they told me to do, and I, in fact, failed miserably. Now, there were people near me who succeeded right off the bat, but I always found out they had a little secret that I didn't have, something like what I would call daddy's money, or they're married to a lender, or they had some secret source of business that, or they just had some magnetic personality. I think anybody who's listened to this podcast knows I do not have a magnetic personality. So the question is, if you're like me, like I was, and you're earning less selling real estate than you wish you were, and you're open to the idea of having some help with that, so what is it that is holding you back? So just write that down. What is it that is holding me back? Okay? So everybody has different things. I coach people that are on, they have a big team. I coach people that have a small team. I coach people that are individual agents, or an agent that has an executive assistant, or that's a husband-wife 50-50 partnership, or it's a mother-daughter, two guys, two gals, or, whatever, 50-50 partnership. So everybody's different. Some people are brand new. Some people have been doing it for, 25 years. Everybody has something that is holding them back, and it's good to identify what it is. But many times it is, my company is called Fearless Agent for a reason. It many times is the fear of selling. Now, we're in the sales business. It says for sale on the sign. In my state, it says salesperson right on your license. It's sales, plain and simple. But if you don't learn how to sell in the real estate industry from me, who are you going to learn it from? Well, the actual truth is no one. There is nobody else that teaches sales, or what I would call sales. So all this other stuff that people teach, I don't know what I would call it, but it looks like it has nothing to do with sales. So if you could eliminate the fear of selling and be eager to do it, and the reason you'd be eager to do it is because the words that I give you are comfortable in every sales situation. Imagine that no matter what sales situation you're in, with a buyer, a seller, or an investor, that you have the exact right words to say, and you're comfortable saying those words. So if you Google real estate coaches, you see all these coaches out there teaching you to say words, but they're uncomfortable. I mean, they don't even make sense. I would never say them. I wouldn't feel comfortable saying them. Nice people wouldn't talk that way. It's as simple as that. And it makes you sound like some high-pressure nitwit. And I would have a fear of saying those words. The words I was taught when I was new, I had a fear of saying those words because the words didn't make sense. So if you could eliminate the fear of selling. Now, what if I could increase sales? Just write that down if you would. massive, massive increase in sales, the number of transactions. What if you could just have, let's say you're doing 20 transactions a year and you could do 60 next year and do it at a higher percentage commission. What would that do for you? So if you're going to go from, let's say you're doing 20 transactions a year. Some of you are brand new, you're listening to this and you say, I can't even imagine doing 2, right? But let's say you're doing 20 and you want to do 60 next year. Well, or in the next 12 months, I should say. I can tell you this, the secret to going from 20 to 60 is you have to let go of what got you 20. Because most agents who are doing 20 transactions a year, they're working 7 days a week. They're working long hours. It's not like, 20 is not nothing. So whatever allows you to do 20 in 50 hours a week, you're not gonna triple that by doing 150 hours a week. That won't work. So you have to be willing to get rid of what got you 20 to get to 60. So a massive increase in your sales is going to have to be a change in the way you look at things and how you spend your time. So that's part of the secret. What if you could develop happy, loyal clients? So you think of all the people that ever paid you, okay? Almost all of them. There are exceptions, but almost all of the people that ever paid you when you had a closing, they were nice, they were sane, they were smart, they probably had a lot of equity to pay you with or a lot of money to put down on a house they were buying, and they were very, very serious about either selling their house right now at fair market value, or they were very, very serious about getting the best house of all the houses that are available to them with the amount of money they got right now. So what if you could take those people that you've already served and turn them into super happy, very loyal clients throughout the process? Okay, so at Fearless Agent, one of the things we teach is step by step, there are certain times in every real estate transaction when you can turn that customer or that client into a happy, loyal client that's going to be referring you business down the road. So every Fearless Agent is able to walk up to a stranger's house, get the listing, if it's gettable by anybody, get it at a percentage that rhymes with heaven but isn't 11%, and get it a 1-year listing. The seller's begging them at the end of the listing presentation to underprice their house so it sells very quickly, and they end up selling it for way more than fair market value, not more than the asking price, actually more than fair market value. And then you get a steady stream of referrals from your very happy, loyal client. They will never use another realtor other than you. They will send you a steady stream of referrals. So what if that was part of your business model for the next 12 months? What if you could unleash the power of a fearless agent? Fearless agents sit on a throne made of the skulls of their enemies. They don't have to put up with the baloney that other agents do. Everything is different when you are a fearless agent. You're saying different words. You're never hearing the objections that other agents hear or that you're hearing now. When you become a fearless agent coaching student, your entire world changes immediately because you're not hearing the crazy stuff from people, and you're not talking to the people that you used to be talking to. You're talking to a better group of people. So when you're targeting the right people and you are saying the right words and you are no longer objection handling because you never get any objections, and everybody is willing to do exactly what you tell them to do. They no longer have the right to have an opinion about the price of their home. They no longer have the right to have an opinion about whether we're going to put it on lockbox or not. We never hear these objections, and if we do, we knock that out, no problem. So what if you could unleash the power that every fearless agent has? For example, a friend of mine, coaching student of mine, Tanner, when I started coaching him, he's 1 week in real estate. He is one of those guys that just says, hey, I'm going to do whatever you tell me to do. He didn't have any ideas of his own because he was brand new in real estate. And that's an advantage. The people that I coach that are brand new, they tend to do better quicker because their brain hasn't been all soaked up with all these bad industry ideas, and they just have an easier time. So he's 1 week in real estate, and he called me one day, and I said, just kind of to take his temperature, I said, "Hey, how many listing appointments did you schedule last week?" He said 9. So write that down. 9 listing appointments scheduled last week. I said, "Well, what's the least amount of listing appointments that you've ever scheduled?" He said 6. So he's never scheduled less than 6. And I think I was coaching him for about 3 months at that time. And he's never scheduled less than 6. He's never taken less than 1 listing in a week. He does not work weekends. He's on his boat. And he has a wife who is also a licensed real estate agent, so he has a built-in assistant. And so he's listed 1 or 2 listings, maybe 3 once or twice, but never less than 1 per week. So what is the secret to his success? And the answer is he's unleashed the power of a fearless agent. He doesn't hear stuff that you're hearing. He doesn't say stuff that you're saying when you're not a fearless agent. He is a pure fearless agent, and he finished his first year with 120 transactions closed roughly. So you're surrounded in real estate, like I was, by people who are not doing 120 a year in their first year. And why is that? Because they all took the same training you're getting. Everybody is out there wallowing around in this horrific training that masquerades as sales training. It's not. It's marketing training, and it's not working. The industry stats are in. It's not working. Okay. So what is the unique thing about Tanner that made him so successful in his first year, and he's going to be much more successful in his second year, is that he was willing to do it the way I told him to do it. So he has the skills, he has the schedule, and he has the systems of a fearless agent. So we're improving those skills and those systems with him, and he'll be doing a much better second year than first year. So there's mistakes in real estate that people tend to make that hold you all back. So just write this down. What mistakes am I making that are holding me back? Because there are some, okay? There's mistakes in my life that are holding me back, like having an opinion in front of my wife would be one example. Never do that. Horrible idea. So one of them is trying to go it alone. Now, in my real estate career, there was a turning point when I no longer tried to go it alone. So I had a mentor in real estate. His name is Floyd Wickman, greatest sales trainer in the history of real estate. Never will be a better one. And I went to a sales training seminar put on by him. And I remember sitting next to this lady who later became my real estate partner. And I said, "Where in the world have they been hiding this for 5 years?" I go, "This is it, So I wasn't the guy that was, wasn't my goal to figure it out on my own. I would have accepted any help, and I did. And all the help I was accepting was making things worse or not much better. But he had a different thing. And the thing he had was actual sales training. So I've been to all the seminars, in 5 years. I've seen all the stuff, and I go, this is different. This is completely different. I don't know what it is that is different, but it's different. And I know this will work. So, people call me every day from all over the country. I've never talked to them before. And they said that same thing. They said, "I've watched your videos online, and I know that what you're saying is different than everybody else, and it will work. And the reason is I'm talking about sales, and no one else on the internet is. They're all I don't know what they're talking about, but it sounds like arguing to me. But trying to go it alone, it's easy for me to objectively take a look at your business from a distance and say, hey, here's maybe an opportunity for growth that you wouldn't think of, or here's some words that you're going to say that you wouldn't think of, or here's a presentation that you would give that you wouldn't think of, or here's a group of people to target that you would never think of, because I'm objective. You could probably do that for me too. So if any of what I'm talking about on any of the videos, if you go to fearlessagent.com, you watch the videos, if any of that makes sense to you, if you're earning less selling real estate than you wish you were, or maybe you're earning plenty of money, but you don't know how to have a life while you're doing it. So, I want you to be like Tanner. I want you to take weekends off. I took weekends off. I never worked a Saturday or a Sunday. But if any of that makes sense to you, and you're open to the idea of having some help with that, and you don't want to go it alone any longer, if you'd like to learn more, you can always call me anytime, 480-385-8810. That is my cell phone. I will answer, or I will call you right back. And let's just see if you and what you're trying to do and what we do here at Fearless Agent, if it would even be a good fit. If it is, great. By the way, if it's not a good fit, I'll tell you. I'm not going to try to sell you anything. 480-385-8810. I love talking to realtors. I don't want you to ever think you're bothering me. Don't email me. Do not text me. There is no such thing as email or texting in sales. Always call me, 480-385-8810. If you can't afford coaching, but you wish you could, please go to fearlessagent.com, watch my free webinar, take lots of notes, go to the video training page, watch all the videos. And here's my guarantee. Those free videos will be better coaching for free than you would pay any other coach in America any amount of money for. And if you ever have a question, you can always call me, because we want to help you for free so you can get rich enough, quick enough to afford our coaching as soon as possible. And so we're here for you. So again, fearlessagent.com. Now, not only trying to go it alone is one of the mistakes that people make, but taking too long to hit your goals. So, if somebody's brand new, let's say you're brand new, like Tanner was when I started coaching him. If you're brand new, I want you to schedule 5 listing appointments a week, okay? Because if you schedule 5 listing appointments a week, I can pretty much guarantee that 2 of them, and I'm not talking about these pop-by visit baloney that other coaches talk about. We're not going over to for sale by owners' houses to chit-chat and visit. I'm talking about every one of these people knows why you're coming over. You're coming over to list their house, okay? Maybe. If you're coming over to show them how you do business completely differently than all other agents they have ever talked to or will ever have the opportunity to talk to. So if you schedule 5 listing appointments a week, 2 of them will cancel, guaranteed. You'll go on 3, and you'll list 1 of those. Now, whether I coach you or not, those would probably be your ratio stats, okay? Now, Fearless Agents, coaching students I have, they do better than that. But if you just did that, I'd be very happy. So let's assume that you take 2 weeks off, 8 weeks off of non-working weekdays. So, the holidays, like Jesus was only born on one day, but we over-celebrate it even by his standards. Then there's your birthday. There's, all the other holidays out there. So if you take 8 weeks of working weekdays off, that's kind of a 10-month year. So you've got 40 work weeks worth of working weekdays. So that would be 1 listing per week would be 40 listings. So if you take 40 listings and you're a Fearless Agent, all 40 of them will sell. Even if they didn't, you'd have buyers enough to make up for the ones that didn't. Then you wouldn't be taking too long to hit your goal. So if I said to your broker, would it be a realistic or the owner of your real estate company? If I went in there and interviewed as a brand new agent and I said, would it be a realistic expectation for me to do 40 closings in my first year? They'd say, yeah, that is a realistic expectation. I'd say, well, how many of the 100 agents in your company did that when they were brand new? And the answer would be not a single one. So it wouldn't be realistic doing it the way your company teaches you to do it or the way my company's taught me to do it. But it would be a realistic expectation if you were a fearless agent. It wouldn't be out of the question at all. But taking too long to hit your goals can set you back. Not having a system or the ideal strategy to make that shift to going to from what the industry standards are to what fearless agent standards are is another problem. You've got to have the right skills, the right schedule, and the right systems, or you're not going to do 40 in the next 12 months. So when people say, Bob, how can we work together? The reality is it's going to happen a number of different ways. Let's say free is the only thing you can afford. Well, first of all, you can call me. That doesn't cost you any money. You can watch all the videos on my website, and that doesn't cost you any money. If you watch all the videos on my website and you implement those things, then you will be scheduling 5 listing appointments a week. So the question is, do you really want this success thing? Okay. Well, if you do, it's time to get serious. Now, everybody says they want to succeed in real estate, but how many people do what it actually takes to succeed? And the answer is not too many. But at Fearless Agent, we have a simple, proven formula. So the simple, proven formula is this. There are 5 Fearless Agent presentations. So please write these down. Listing presentation, pricing presentation, for sale by owner presentation. That covers you for every seller situation you're ever going to be in. And then there's the buyer presentation and the investor presentation. So what is the purpose of these presentations? So when you meet with somebody that's thinking about selling their house, again, I want the purpose of that meeting to be you're walking out with a listing for 1 year, underpriced on day 1, not overpriced the way all your competitors do it, because the seller begged you to underprice it, and you have, at full commission, and they're going to do everything the way you tell them to do it. The goal of the pricing presentation is to get the seller to say to you, at the end of the Fearless Agent pricing presentation, every seller always said to me, well, why don't we just underprice our house right off the bat? And I'd say, yeah, that's what I would do if it was my house. In fact, that's what I did when it was my house. And I sold my house for way, way more than it was worth, not even close to what fair market value was. I'm not talking about more than the asking price. I'm talking about way more than the actual fair market value of the house. Then there's the for sale by owner. So the for sale by owner is sold on selling their house, but they're not sold on using a realtor. So before you give your listing presentation to a for sale by owner, you have to sell the for sale by owner on the idea of using a realtor. And then there's the buyer presentation. And the purpose of that is to get every buyer to sign the buyer broker agreement, use your lender, do things your way. And then the investor presentation is just to show an investor, and I'm not talking about fix and flip Nimrods. I'm talking about real investors with real money that know they need a realtor, how they can get a much, much higher rate of return by not doing what you see people do on reality TV shows and these scammy, scummy seminars that they all go to. So most of the real estate agents that I know that have lost their entire life's fortune in real estate did it because they went to a scammy, scummy seminar and they learned how to do fix and flipping and they lost all their money. Then we're going to give you the amazing Fearless Agent phone dialogues, which you can see a tiny part of if you go to fearlessagent.com and watch all our videos. And that's how you get to go on the presentation and give those presentations. And then you'd have direct access to one-on-one coaching with me because your problems are unique. Your problems are not unique to the real estate industry, but they're unique to you because you're in a different market than some other people. Some people are in Detroit. Some people are in LA. Some people are in Hawaii. Some people are in Canada. The rules are different. Everything's different. So you get one-on-one coaching from me. You're never going to have a real estate question on how to make more money in this situation that I won't know the answer to. We have a weekly group teleconference call that is 1 solid hour of actual sales training, none of which you could ever be exposed to anywhere else in the real estate industry. And we're going to cover all these things. We're going to cover the 5 presentations in great detail. We're going to cover all the phone dialogues in great detail. We're going to cover all the systems and strategies for prospecting, presenting, marketing. We're going to how to not blow all your money on marketing the way everybody else does. How to do follow-ups, how to do pricing, how to do your database, how to do the assistant thing. It's every single thing you would ever need to learn how to hit any level of production in real estate. And then that is a 1 solid hour of me training on 1 or 2 topics of my choosing. And then there's normally about a half an hour after that for questions on any topic. That way, you get a little bit of everything. And then each of those episodes is recorded for you, kind of like this podcast. And that way you can listen to it anytime. And if you're on the call live, your questions would help other people, but you don't have to be on the call live. So you will immediately make more money. So here's the thing that I would put on your to-do list. Immediately make more money. You will be permanently market proof. The market will never dictate how much you earn in real estate in any town, in any market, up or down. It wouldn't matter. Nothing will ever matter. You will crush your competitors. You will be able to do magic tricks that they will never, ever be able to do because you're doing sales strategies of the future while they are mired in all that old-fashioned baloney that you see all over the internet for years and years. And you will have way more knowledge than your competition. Your competitors won't be able to do the magic tricks you can do because you know more than they do. And what you know more about is sales. So they're all worried about learning how to overcome every objection because they're getting objections, and that's because they suck at sales. If you're getting objections, you stink at sales. You got to get rid of that. You will always have the exact right words to say in every real estate sales situation. You will never buy leads again. No Fearless Agent coaching student would ever buy leads or get them bought for them by a lender or any other partners or anything like that. All of that goes away. Your schedule will be that every day looks identical. You will be comforted by the knowledge that every day looks the same. You don't get up and go, oh, what am I going to do today? You know exactly what you're going to do every day, and you will delegate all the non-profitable activities. So all that stuff that the real estate industry tells you to do, like go to these nitwit networking events or these title company parties and all that, and you're not going to have time for that. You're going to be raking in the dough. You won't have time for that. So you will schedule 5 listing appointments a week, and you'll be busy going on those appointments. Again, 2 will cancel. You'll go on 3. You'll list 1. You will close a minimum of 40 transactions per year. All you have to do is exactly what I tell you to do. Your listings will sell for more, and I'm talking way more than your competitors' exact same listings will sell for. And you will earn a 30 to 50% increase on those very same commissions on those very same listings than you're earning now or that your competitors are earning, and you will do less work and have more time off. You can take weekends off. I don't want you to have to work weekends. You will be free from the worry and the stress that all these other people have. You will have the business and the life of your dreams. So, we've interviewed fearless agents on this show, and they've told you what it was like for them, how everything changed. You will be a fearless agent. Your life will change. The comfort of being a fearless agent. I was talking not too long ago to Carolyn Castillo in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and she was showing me all the printouts of all the listings on her wall. I was in her office, and she said, "You did all that for me, Bob." I go, No, you did that. You made those calls. I just gave you the right words to say. I pointed you in the right direction. She goes, well, I couldn't have done it without you. Well, maybe that's true, but she did it. She was a worker. She had a baby, last year and, got an amazing amount of transactions done in spite of that. So the question is, what is it worth to you to never have to put up with the baloney that other agents have to put up with? For a very low investment, we don't charge a lot of money for Fearless Agent coaching. It is the bargain of the century. So all I would ask is go to fearlessagent.com when you have a chance. And like right now, please do me a favor also. If you like this podcast, if you find this helpful, please review us on iTunes. And I want to thank all of you for joining us today. Please do visit us at fearlessagent.com. Remember, you can always call me directly at 480-385-8810. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. You'll see me around town. I'm coming to a town near you. If we have an event near you, come to that. And until next week, remember, have fun, be humble, but above all, always be fearless.